Hey guys, welcome back to Conejo Valley Visionaries, a weekly podcast where we spotlight the people and stories behind your favorite local businesses. I'm your host, Christina Denstead. Today's episode is a podcast we recorded live during a recent event in Neighborly, part of our Meet Your Neighbors summer series. The theme was Reset and Recharge, and it truly was a cozy, inspiring morning all about easing into fall with intention. We focus on finding simple, practical tools to stay grounded, mind, body, and spirit as we move into a new season. You'll first hear from Crystal Quayle, a breathwork facilitator who guided us through 3 easy breathing exercises you can use anytime you need a reset during your day. Then we jump into a conversation with Emily Trowbridge and Darlynn Childress, 2 former educators turned Conejo Valley business owners. They share some truly relatable insights on routines, transitions, and how to bring more calm and clarity into everyday life. We wrap it up with a live audience Q&A full of great questions, laughter, and some surprising aha moments. If you're interested in future events, make sure to follow us on Instagram at Conejo Valley Visionaries. We've got another exciting event coming this fall, and I'd love to see you there. All right, let's get into this conversation. If you enjoy this episode and find value in the podcast, please leave us a 5-star review and rating. This helps more people find the podcast, and therefore each story can reach more folks in the Conejo Valley.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the second of our Meet Your Neighbors series presented in partnership with Neighborly. Thank you all so much for being here. It's an absolute thrill. It means so much to me.
I think I've met everybody, but my name is Christina, and I have a podcast called Conejo Valley Visionaries. If you're not already listening or following, please do. On Instagram, it's Conejo Valley Visionaries, and you can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. Just a little shameless plug for last week's episode was a back-to-school episode with Finn Kearns, who's the CVUSD student trustee, Thousand Oaks High School senior, who was so impressive and really gave me a lot of faith in our younger generation. He was talking about the impact the younger generation has on the Conejo Valley, and it was really a nice, kind of heartwarming conversation. And then tomorrow's a little bit different. It is with Tammy Pickle, who owns a matchmaking service out here called Elite Connections. And I was just sharing with the group earlier, like I've had to be very vulnerable through this to just not care what people think. And I am a single divorced mom, and I wanted to have her on just to hear what it's like out here dating and see if my experience was anything similar to other people. And it's been really fun to share her story, and she owns the company with her mom for several decades. So anyways, please follow, listen, let me know what you think. If you have people you want to hear on the podcast, please don't hesitate to reach out and share that with me too. Okay, but we are at Neighborly, and one other quick plug is that thank you to Andrea DeSantis, Chris Barton, who are recording the audio and video. This panel will also be a podcast episode. So we'll capture the content here so you can listen to it again, as well as all of your questions if you have any at the end of the podcast. So thank you guys for doing that. Now, Neighborly is our partner in this. They've been an incredible partner. I know that some of you haven't been here yet, so welcome. And for those of you who have, it's an amazing space. And I'm going to introduce Justin Lopez, who is the head of marketing here. And not only is he head of marketing, he's also a dad who is of young children who is going through his own reset and recharge for the fall. And so is Neighborly. So Justin, what is new at Neighborly right now?
Hi.
Hi.
Good to see you.
You too.
Well, we designed Neighborly for you, quite literally. When we thought about the concept, it was a concept that we thought could fit into everyone's everyday lives. You as busy working professionals, as moms, you have a lot going on, and the last thing at the end of the day that you may need to be focused about is how you're taking care of yourselves and your families. And so our newest offering is within the marketplace. We've designed meals that not only for now, but for later as well, so that you can come in, browse the marketplace, and find better for you meals that are ready in minutes, things that you can take home and enjoy, stock your fridge with. We're really excited to share them with you. We have a new snack salad that we're going to be debuting here today for you to take home. That's going to be going in your bags at the end, so please see Kirsten, and she'll get that for you on the way out. But a lot of fun things happening, including a brand new catering program as well. So whether you're hosting at home or at work, we have something for you, and we're really excited. So thank you all for being here, and we look forward to seeing you at Neighborly.
Thank you, Justin. And I will say, this is not a shameless plug, but I have found that those snack salads have been super helpful. My issue is that like I forget to have the protein in the middle of the day. Those have been super helpful. So thank you. Everybody will be going home with a fun little swag bag. Also, there's some really cool kids back to school treats and snacks. So
That's right.
yeah, thank you guys. Thank you for doing this. Thank you for hosting us. Thank you for making this possible. And yeah, we appreciate your partnership.
Thank you.
Okay, cool. So next up, this is the theme here is reset and recharge. And I find that one of the most challenging time periods is the morning when you're going from, if you have kids, school drop off to like work life, or just like that morning routine to the next thing. And I have personally found meditation to be a big help, and also just like conscious breathing. And I'm thrilled to introduce Crystal Quayle is coming up. She's our breathwork guide from Soleil Wellness in Westlake. And Crystal's going to offer us a tangible breathwork takeaway that you can use. We're going to go through it right now, but that you can use during whatever transitions you have throughout the day. Something that you can find will support you and make you consciously breathing. And I really find that it's helpful to reset and feel calm and ease no matter where you are in your day. So thank you for being here, Crystal. We started off the morning actually when she got here. I was like, can I spray some rose water on your face? And it did really help us reset. We did a group breath work. So I'm going to let you take it from here.
Cool. Is my mic on? Yes. Are you guys okay with some rose water today? Cool. Just tell me a no if you don't. So this helps me get into the frequency of love. I keep one of these in my car to help me when I feel overwhelmed in motherhood. Thank you. Sorry, I don't want to get the cameras. So love is one of the highest frequencies, and rose is a symbol of love. And for me, I like to send my breath all the way down to my belly when I smell the frequency of rose. So this is your invitation to send your breath to your belly. Today I just wanted to give you a few tips of breath techniques that I use throughout my day to help calm my nervous system, okay? The first is to turn on your nose. Does anyone know why? Why turn on your nose? So nose breath is actually the best type of breath according to science, and that is because we're filtering the air that we're breathing. We're humidifying the air that we're breathing. We're changing the temperature of our air, okay? We're also getting into that rest and digest state of being. When we're mouth breathing, we're actually getting ourselves into fight or flight. And when we send our breath all the way down here, it helps us get in that rest and digest state of being, okay? So when my children have meltdowns, which is very often these days, in the summer I was having up to 7 or 8 meltdowns throughout my day. This was a technique I used often, and that's just a 4 count in through the nose and then blow it out for 8. Let's try it all together. I'd like you to sit up nice and tall. Our breath is directly connected to our spine. So if you can close your eyes or give me a gentle gaze forward, you're gonna inhale through the nose and send your breath all the way down to your belly. Are you ready? Here we go. In through the nose for 1, 2, 3, 4, then blow it out. Let's do that again. In through the nose and blow it out. We'll do one more just like that. Beautiful work. So already you can see how our energy has changed, shifted together. I'm going to show you a few techniques that I use with my children throughout my day. They now do this back to me, okay? The first one is called horse breath. It just allows you to create a vibration with your lips. So you're going to go in through the nose and you close your mouth and you just allow the air to blow out. It looks like this. Can you try it with me? Here we go, horsies. In through the nose. Beautiful. Let's do one more just like that. Gorgeous. And the next one, I'm sure you've heard a few times, maybe not, but lion's breath is one that I use throughout my day when I feel overwhelmed or stressed. You can find me in a closet doing this. Sometimes I'll do it at my kids and then they do it back to me. So it's just in through the nose and you open your mouth, release the tongue as wide as you can, or out as far as possible. So it looks like this. You can give me an H-A, ha. Okay. Oftentimes I am doing a chop in my closet. It looks like this. Because parenthood takes you there. Okay.
No judgment.
Yes. Okay, so let's try that one together. You don't have to do the chop today, but we'll just stay seated and do an inhale through the nose and open your mouth, release the tongue. Here we go. Beautiful vibration, Christina. You got it. Let's do two more, just
I've done
like
this
that.
before.
Yes. Last one all together. Beautiful. Our breath is our life force energy. We can go days without food or water. We can go about 4 to 5 minutes without our breath. And it's an honor and it's sacred to me to share my breath with each of you today. Who we share our breath with really matters. And for me, I like to surround myself with amazing women like each of you. And I know how much you're doing in your community. And I know how much you love the world around you. But I also believe that you deserve the same love inside of your heart. And for me, my breath has become the way I love myself. And I hope that each of you can take a few things today with you to help fill up your bucket, because you are worthy of the same love that you give to everyone else.
That was incredible. Thank you, Crystal. We really appreciate that. I know I feel centered and grounded, and I appreciate you sharing those techniques with us, and we'll be utilizing them throughout our lives, hopefully.
Thank you so much. I appreciate each of you, and thank you, Neighborly and Christina. Thank you, and Soleil. It's an honor to work with women, supporting women, and incorporating breath into every moment of my day. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Crystal. Appreciate you. So speaking of Soleil, we're going to introduce our panelists, and huge thank you. Can we get a big round of applause actually for Crystal? That was awesome. Thank you. Thank you for maybe getting us out of our comfort zones and teaching us something new. I really appreciate it. So the theme is reset and recharge. A lot of us are parents. You don't have to be here. You're going to learn a lot from this conversation. With Conejo Valley Visionaries, the goal is to focus and feature local business owners. And I have two incredible women founders here. So I'm going to help me welcome two of them right now. Emily Trowbridge, who is the co-founder of Soleil Wellness in Westlake Village. Thank you for being here, Emily. If you have not been to Soleil yet, Soleil is a state-of-the-art gym. It is a spa. It is like a wellness haven. And Emily opened the business last year, and looking forward to hearing your journey and then also sharing some reset and recharge wellness tips with us. So thank you for being here.
Thank you, Christina, and thank you all for joining us this morning.
And thank you for sharing Crystal with us. That was really
course.
incredible. So I know we can find you're generously gifted everybody here a day pass too. So definitely make sure you'll hear more about the spa and the wellness center in general. So you're going to want to go and check it out afterwards. Next, we have Darlynn Childress, who is the owner of Calm Mama Coaching. She is a self-described mad mom, and is the founder of Calm Mama Coaching. She also has a podcast where she helps hundreds of families throughout the Conejo Valley just find more ease in their parenting, and as moms find a little bit more calmness. So thank you for being here too, Darlynn.
Thank you. It's so nice to be here with all of you and talk about reset, recharge, and thank you, Christina, for putting this together.
Of course. So I'm always curious what you wanted to be when you grew up. Because one of the reasons why I started this podcast about a year and a half ago was I sort of was following a childhood dream of being a broadcast journalist. And
It's so curious to me to find out,
where you were starting out as a kid and where you are now and what that journey's like. So, Emily, what was it that you wanted to be? I know you grew up out here.
I did, yes.
And what did you have aspirations to be?
Well, I love this question, Christina. Prior to Soleil Wellness, I was an elementary school teacher. So although that wasn't what I wanted to be when I grew up, my dream job when I was young was to be a veterinarian. And in third grade, I had to learn how to spell veterinarian because I actually wrote about that's what I wanted to be. Loved animals, but as I grew up, my love for kids and children kind of shifted into the education realm.
Okay, that's amazing. I love how common vets are, like that most kids at some point want to do something with animals, which is really sweet. It's interesting how that quickly shifts for a lot of people, though.
It does, yes.
What about you, Darlynn?
I wanted to be an astronaut. I remember like really wanting to like go to outer space and trying to figure that out. And then when I was in fourth grade, the Challenger exploded. I don't know if you guys remember that. And it was like a big deal at school. They brought in the VCR and like we all watched TV and we watched the teacher on there die. And I was like, I don't think I want to be an astronaut anymore.
No.
So along the way, I went into education, similar to Jess, and not Jess, sorry, Emily. And I taught middle school for a long time before I became a parent, became a mad mom, wanted to get out of that, and then became a parenting coach. So not really in the astronaut field at all.
I know. Well, so both of you pursued education. What led you, Emily, to Soleil? Was wellness always fitness always part of your life? And when did that kind of come to be part of your career?
Yeah, so I was an elementary school teacher. I taught 4th and 5th grade and a little bit of computer lab. So I got to see all the realms of elementary school. And after the birth of my first child, I discovered barre. A bar workout. So I was a dancer all growing up throughout my life, and barre just kind of infused what I loved to do, which was dancing, and then a way to work out, especially becoming a new mom, not only, obviously pregnancy weight, but really reconnecting with the mind and the body as one. I felt really disjointed after my first child, so barre really helped me regain that. So I fell in love with barre so much that I became a barre instructor. So I was teaching elementary school, teaching barre on the side. And I loved instructing, or still love instructing, because it's a true blend of those passions. So passion for movements and a passion for teaching. So that passion eventually led to the opening of Soleil Wellness. So Soleil Wellness is a women's gym, spa, and wellness center. We offer basically everything under one roof was our vision, was our goal. So if you think of the gym, group fitness, that's my side. But we also have a full day spa and offer wellness amenities like infrared saunas, cold plunges, meditation room, compression. I could go
Red
on
light
and on.
therapy.
Oh yes, red lights.
I really love that,
We
yes.
cannot forget about the red light room.
Yeah.
So special. So yeah.
Amazing. What about you, Darlynn? At what point, I know you said you had your kids, you became a mad mom, and then when did you come up with the teachings so that you could coach somebody else?
Yeah, I first went to a parenting class, like many of you have probably done, where you go to like a parent education workshop. And before I even went to one, I remember having a conversation with my friend, and she was talking about her kids' behavior and, how hard it was. And I said, yeah, I feel like I'm a victim. I'm in an abusive relationship with my son. And she kind of stopped and looked at me and she's like, that's not normal to feel so extreme. And I began a journey to understand why I was reactive, why I was taking his behavior to be so intense. And yeah, it just, one parent education class led to another, and I just started to learn about my own trauma response, stress response, how I was viewing his behavior, what I made it mean, all those things. And I was doing all the traditional parenting strategies like timeout, takeaway, sticker charts, yelling, right, whatever. And I wasn't really seeing any shift. And so when I started to kind of practice compassion with him and understand. Now it's a little bit more mainstream, but I have a 21-year-old. So 20 years ago, it wasn't something everybody talked about. And I was like, wait, what? Feelings drive behavior? Like, what? He's not just a, psychopath. And I began kind of learning for myself. And because I was a teacher, I would learn something, get excited, tell my friends. And then they'd say, oh, let's do a little class. And they're like, okay. And so my business really started very organically with just me, like almost like Tupperware party or something, or, me just going to people's houses and talking about parenting. And that was in 2012 when I started my first parenting class. And over time, I've learned a ton about psychology, child development, emotional regulation, all the things we're talking about today. Consequences in a shame-free environment and all that. So I put that together in what I call the Calm Mama process. And that's what I teach in my programs and on my podcast. Yeah.
So we will get into some strategies in a minute, but I, with some of you maybe already business owners or interested in starting your own business, you both started your business already with kids.
Yeah.
How? And is there a tip that you have for if one of us is interested in starting a thing and we have young kids or older kids, like what is a trick that you might recommend?
Oh, that's a great question. My number one tip is just do it. Like you will figure it out. The regret that you may feel for not doing it, I think would be a harder pill to swallow than if you did. And that being said, you should definitely rely on your resources. Grandparents, aunties, uncles, best friends, neighbors. I utilized, the whole tree, the calling tree, basically everyone to just help. And it is hard because, I'm a little type A and feel like I can do everything. But knowing those limits, those boundaries is very important, and relying on your network. They're there for you. Take the support and ask.
I love that.
Yeah, that's great. I think, do it. I feel like when I started my business, I didn't know I was starting one. I didn't know, I wasn't like, I'm going to start a business. Someone was like, oh, you have an online business? And I was like, do I? Is that what this is called? I just really didn't know. So I think you have an idea, you have something you're passionate about, something you want to pursue. Just kind of start, take that next step. We don't have to go to some grandiose thing, like Soleil is really a big vision, and you have partners, so.
I do, yes. Yeah. Shout out to our co-founders. Absolutely.
Yeah, so it's helpful if you're going to do something to bring in a team. And, if you want to start small, just do it. Yeah, exactly. And then the other thing I would say about as a parent coach is it's really helpful to define your work time and your non-work time, because your kids won't understand what you're doing when you're on your phone, when you're on your computer, when you're on a phone call or you're researching something. To them, it all just seems like you're not paying attention to them. So if you can say, I'm going to work for 30 minutes, you guys can play in this room for a while, and then I'm going to come back to you. Children really want to, be good. They want to, they know, if they know what's happening and they know how much time is expected, they can, accommodate that, and you can teach them how to do that. So
I think that goes for husbands or partners as well. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
I know, we were just talking about how a shift in your routine, whether it's with kids or marriage, it's going to impact what you were used to when you didn't have those things before. So, and I think that, that brings us into the first kind of topic, which this is a seasonal shift, obviously summer to fall. So you're going to feel it no matter if your kids are going back to school or not. But I think we all find some satisfaction in routine, especially kids do. But I think as adults, I'm finding that more as I get older. I love a routine as well. And morning routines being an important way to start off on the right foot. So let's first start out. What's your morning routine, and how can we set ourselves up for a good start to the day, whether if you're a business owner or you're a parent?
Oh, that's great. So morning routines, so important, especially with littles, but also really for ourselves too. It's easy to go to mom mode but a lot of times I like to think of myself as, me mode or Emily mode, because if we're not centered or if we're not feeling connected and regulated, our children, spouses, even beyond, our coworkers aren't going to feel that either. So having that set routine, whether it's waking up early, getting your morning workout. I personally like to do it, workout after the school drop off, but that's where it fits in my morning. And just having those special routines that you can carry with you every morning is very beneficial.
Yeah, it was a big unlock for me when I realized I had to do it before my kids woke up, or else I would never get it done, and that helps me set my path. What about you, Darlynn? Whether it's just your own personal, morning routine. I know your kids are older and out of school, but what would you recommend if somebody did have kids to kind of get the morning started off right? Because it's chaotic. Let's all be honest. Like, no matter what it is, I was always, when I became a parent, and then my kids were going to school, and I would go into an office after, and like, you have no idea what I've just been through. And it's only 8:30 in the morning. So what are some ways that we can make it a little less insane?
Yeah. Well, I think making things really simple. I don't do chores in the morning. I don't empty the dishwasher. I don't do really much except get myself, or when my kids were little, get them up and out the door. And the goal for me, even now, for myself, or when my kids were younger, is to be the most emotionally regulated person I could be and deliver the most emotionally regulated human I could to the door of school. So having that framework for myself would then, if it started to go wild, like I'm like yelling or like repeating myself over and over, or, all of a sudden nagging about like some random thing I've decided I care about that morning, like, whether you've washed your hair properly or whether you've, made your bed, then kind of resetting myself and being like, wait, no. This isn't the time or place for that conversation. So catching myself, pausing, resetting, and just really focused on and it's almost like not parenting in the morning for me with my kids. I just be really focused on let's just get the bare minimums done and get out the door, and then we'll have all the conversations about their naughtiness and the things they don't do, all that after school. So
I'd also add in to not, focus if there is a hiccup, especially in the morning, to not harp on it so much or not let it derail the rest of the morning. And you are going to have those moments. So yes, I was that parent who had to drop off the writer's notebook this morning in the office because it was not packed in the backpack. So yes, we all have those mornings.
And that's where
well.
maybe the breath work helps you kind of calm down, because I think that those moments are going to happen, and you need to just be able to kind of continue through. You can't let it completely derail you in your life.
Absolutely.
I like that idea of not parenting on the way to school. I mean, I think it's hard to do, but you've mentioned this idea of 5 things in terms of setting the expectation for your kids, no matter their age. Can you tell us a little bit about that, Darlynn?
Yeah. So, Christina asked me a couple days ago, are visual charts helpful in the morning, having your kids have a list or something like that. And those are good for you to figure out what are the things that you want your kids to do, but they rarely look at them, and you rarely go back and look at them, right? You're nodding because you know. And so I taught my kids the 5 things, and we would just say in the morning, have you done your 5 things? And sometimes before bed, it would be your 3 things. So it's brush your teeth, get your socks and shoes, put your lunchbox in your backpack, have had breakfast or not. That was optional. That's the other thing. Don't care if they eat. We get so obsessed about, I don't know, so many things. And I know it's feels really, really important. And you get all that information about, starting the day off right. But, having a bit of apple in the car is just as good. So, before we would leave, I would stand at the doorway and I'd say to the boys, did you guys do your 5 things? And they would then do their own thinking, what? And then they'd run around and get something. And sometimes they'd be 5 things, remember, water bottle, backpack, and I have my little list. And they're oh no. And then they would run and they would create the urgency instead of me creating the urgency by saying, go do this, go do that, right? I didn't want to yell. I didn't want to have a lot of energy.
I've never done that. I've never yelled at my kids or putting their socks on.
Yeah, no. And, just teaching them what's the expectation is really useful. Yeah.
No, I love that. And I think it also helps us to know what to expect too, which is what helps us stay regulated and calm, I believe. Let's move to like midday or pickup time. If we're just like resetting and feeling good, I know you mentioned thinking about dinner at lunch, which feels anxiety inducing, but that also like helps you consider things. I know, Emily, your kids are in different schools and they've got lots of after school activities. What are some tips that you have to sort of make that transition into like from you're working at Soleil, you teach there, you're dealing with the business, and then you have to go deal with your kids. What are you doing?
Yeah, I kind of feel like my life doesn't really start until 3 p.m. because that's when, kids are done with school. I'm in the season of life where, I have a 13-year-old and a 10-year-old, also different genders, so a boy and a girl. Those after-school activities are different. I have to juggle football and ballet. So again, having support is so helpful. My wonderful husband is such a help as well. But when we pick up, a lot of times we as moms, haven't seen them all day, and we're loading them with questions. What'd you do today? How was your recess? All these things. What I have found personally with my children is I need to be a safe space for them because they've kind of almost kept it together at school all day. And when I would pick them up and ask them all of these questions, it was just, another nagging person asking them all these things. So I find that of course I'll welcome them in, say hello, but see what they need. Sometimes it is just quiet. So sometimes we do just have to, with my daughter, play Taylor Swift, and that's going to be good. Just, again, creating that safe environment. Also, dinner time is so important to us as a family. It's really the only time throughout a weekday that we truly get to spend together because we are juggling the after-school activities and the tutors and everything else. So having a meal plan, dinner, it doesn't have to be, perfect on a chart every day, but definitely having we have Taco Tuesday every Tuesday. Yeah. We know. Every Wednesday we get the house is clean and we pick up Neighborly. My daughter says it's the restaurant that has everything, and it truly is. Everyone is happy. We can get every type of food. So yes, love Neighborly.
I sometimes will have if I have somebody help clean the house, and then I messy it up right that same evening by cooking. I'm like, well, that's a great idea to time.
I know, it's at least
night
one
out.
day.
Yes. Yeah, that's
so
smart.
for us it's Wednesdays.
Okay, that's
so yeah,
amazing.
thank you too for Neighborly for all that help.
Yeah. Darlynn, tell me about eyeballs, one of your kind of tactics for pickup.
Yeah, I think about handoffs and reunions. So when you are dropping your kid off, right, they're on the way to school, they're armoring up. I think of it like they're putting on their shields and their vest or whatever. Like they're armoring up, and then when you pick them up, they're taking that armor off, right? So that safe place that you described, it's like no matter if you have a perfect school environment, they love their teacher, they love their friends, which is not always true. But if they have a perfect day, it's still hard. It still takes a lot out of them. And when you have kids under 10, they have been thinking about you at school. Like they have been thinking about home and missing home a little bit. Home is easy. Home is safe. Home is you know where the potty is. Like you know how to get food. Like there's so many, you can just do whatever you want. And when they come back to us, they are excited to reunite with us. And a lot of times we're very distracted at that time. We're finishing the grocery list or the meal plan or, talking on the phone with your friend, trying to figure out the plan or just, bitching, whatever. And if you can center yourself right before your children arrive back to you and be ready for what I think of as eyeballs. And so it's really this moment where you make eye contact. And I like to just say I missed you. And not bombard them with any question. How was your day? Da, da, da. Just I've been thinking about you. I'm so glad you're back. Welcome to my car, And I've seen a lot of times at pickup, moms are like, don't be rude. I'm talking, right? They try to discipline in that moment of reunion because you want to show you're a good mom to all the other moms or whatever's happening. And it's performative a little bit, and also you want to keep talking. And really your little kid is, they're at your skirt trying to say hi. And they're not being rude, really, in many ways. Like, we're being rude because we're not taking a moment to acknowledge them. And like I said to Christina, I said, just those few minutes can actually reset everybody's nervous system. You have a lot less misbehavior and a lot less sibling, in the car, like whatever. So, yeah, that's what I think about.
Yeah, you also freaked me out because you said our kids are borrowing from our nervous system, which is like a terrifying thought, but also very true. And I do think, the idea of eyeballs and any of that like personal connection applies to any relationship, right?
Yes.
Like there is something about that whether it's your spouse or your kids or a relationship here, like having that eye contact, acknowledging people makes such a huge difference. So I hadn't thought of that as using that as a tactic with my kids. And I have been doing that for the past week, and it does seem to make an impact.
Yeah.
So thank you for sharing that.
Yes,
It's very
good.
helpful. What about, so for mealtime, I know we talked about, I think one thing that helps me is like making sure I'm leveraging easy things to eat during the day, like the snack salads here. But for kids, what are you, like how are you thinking about the ease of mealtime and how to make it simple?
I think that goes too with school lunches, right? Getting back to packing school lunches has been, getting back to the routine of it all. But for the mealtime, right? It is just a great way to reconnect with each other, with our family. One thing we like to do at the dinner table is answer high lows. What was your high of the day? What was your low of the day? And then the question about, was it the food?
Yeah.
Yeah. So again, just making sure that I'm creating meals that the whole family likes, which isn't always
What's
easy.
the tip for that? Yeah.
Which is not always easy. But so beneficial, and those benefits carry, not even just that evening into bedtime, but whole weekly routine.
Yeah. I think we were saying too, kind of this idea of like not parenting or like not stressing out the thing. It's like you have to get takeout or a pre-made meal to like survive. You should do it, right?
Yeah, for sure. I love to like take frozen chicken breasts, stick them in the Instapot with a little bit of water and turn it on for 18 minutes and you have shredded chicken. It's so easy, then you can use it for the whole week. But then I was here at Neighborly and they have shredded chicken here already done. And I was like, oh, this is so handy. So I was telling Christina, like, I think about dinner at lunch, which is annoying, I know. But it's because of the thawed meat, right? Like, if you don't have some kind of meat ready, it can be so hard to figure out what you're going to cook. Or, like, if you're a vegetarian, you're like, well, I haven't drained the tofu or whatever. It's so frustrating. And so if you get in a pickle, go get takeout. Come by here and not make it mean so much of like, oh, I'm not a good parent and we get food out all the time. It's like, if you can afford it, do it. And then if there's simple ways at home to make meals, like pre-cook a bunch of ground turkey, pre-cook a bunch of ground, chicken, shredded chicken, carnitas, whatever. And then the last few years, I've been doing a lot of like salad mixes with just protein. Yep. And I noticed that's something else that it's really easy to grab and go from here. Yeah.
What's one thing that if we were all to walk away from here, would you recommend as just like a small shift that would support our long-term calm? As women, adults that are here, what would you recommend?
Yeah, that's a great question. Like you said, identify something small. Talking from a wellness point of view, a lot of times wellness or a wellness journey, even getting back to movement or fitness in a gym setting, it can seem overwhelming. But when you identify something small, something tangible, it's beneficial, right? So identify what is one something that you can not necessarily change, but adjust, or maybe it's a small goal that you have, and you can outline the steps that you want to take to achieve that goal. So identifying something small and then making the small changes adds up to something big.
Yeah. I love that. I was thinking exercise has been a huge part of like my emotional regulation in general, just making sure I move my body. So I love, that concept. As a parenting coach, I feel that if you can take a beat before pickup and just do the breathing exercise, or sometimes I teach this concept called delight list. So you write a list of 30 things that you actually like about your child. Because sometimes
30.
you forget. That's like a separate activity, right? You do it can get hard. After write 7, you're like, I don't have any more. Keep pushing. And then when you're about to pick up, to be thinking about some of those things, because it can be really hard when they come back and you're like, what is like wrong? Like, who are you? They come out yelling and this all stupid, whatever they do. And get really caught up, and they're just decompressing from their day and having some rough little transitions. They don't have a best friend. They don't have a spouse. They don't have anybody to talk to about their day, their problems, to, emotionally connect with. They only have us. And when we're not emotionally available, it makes it really hard for that transition to kind of be easy. So just, whether it's a song or a little list in your head or a phone, a note on your phone that you go look through, something like that connects you back to like why you like your children. And then when they come back, you're a little bit more ready for them. So that's what I'd say.
I appreciate the honesty with it. And it's very true. I mean, it's all things I think we think about, and then putting into practice to have like a tactical way to do that is really helpful. Okay, before we get to audience questions, what is your favorite thing to do in the Conejo Valley?
Oh, goodness. I love that the outdoors of the Conejo Valley. We are truly surrounded by such beauty. Sometimes we forget. I feel like we're spoiled, and it's easy to overlook. But absolutely going outdoors. I'm not much of a hiker. I have allergies, so it deters me a little bit. But I do love, for instance, Malibu Creek, Wildwood, taking not hikes, but just visiting the outdoors. And really, because of my stage in life right now, being so in it with kids, my weekends are really spent at baseball fields and football fields and the schools, right? The surrounding parks and whatnot. And I feel like meeting the community members within that is really special too. Again, something that we can overlook, being entrenched in the wonderful Conejo Valley, is the community. So being able to connect with fellow parents, people in that same stage of life, is really beneficial too.
And do your kids go to the same middle school or high school that you went to?
No. We're in Oak Park, and I'm an alum of Agora. So yes.
I love it. What about you, Darlynn?
It's similar. I actually do really like hiking though, but I love all the open space we have, and I definitely take advantage of that. And I did that a lot with my kids, especially I had boys, and they just had so much energy. So we would just find ourselves at a creek or, a little beginning of a trail and just throw rocks at stuff, and it would be just plenty of energy out. And even now, that's what I love. But lately, I've really enjoyed all the new restaurants. Like, really, we're getting it over here, and it makes me really happy. And just even neighborly, honestly, it's not like, oh, we're here, we're going to plug it. It's like I really am so grateful that we have these wonderful places to eat and gather. And yeah, so that's what I've really been grateful for lately.
Yeah, it's always fun. And it's nice to see like new places being added and give us something to do with or without kids.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you both. We're going to open it up to you guys. Do you have any questions for Emily or Darlynn? It can be about business ownership, about parenting, about just how to reset going into fall. Don't be shy. Anybody? Yeah, Amber. I'll give you the mic.
So a lot of what we've talked about, I think mostly applies to younger children, and I have a fresh ninth grader, a boy. Just curious to get your thoughts on how to maintain your relationship and evolve with them in this new stage of life.
Yeah. Great question.
I can definitely speak to that. I noticed in high school with my boys that, because I don't have girls, going to get food was like one of the most important things that I could do with them. And it really kind of I had to release some of my ideas about health and wellness and be willing to buy, crap food for them. But there is something that happens when you're eating like fat and fried food or whatever. And the endorphins that kicks in for them while they're sitting there, and then you get to like chit chat, you might get a little bit more of that connection. That's like, even when you say, do you want to go to Target with me? They're like, no. But you're like, oh, do you want to go? You can get some chips or snacks. Then you get a lot more buy-in, and that time when you're connected in the car is really helpful. And then also, I think it's really good to have dates. Like if they're interested in music or they're interested in some kind of sporting events or something like that, or if you have girls, they like want to get their nails done or whatever, to go do those little dates and really intentionally carve out the time, because it can be really hard to find. When they're younger, you have so much time with them. You're like, oh my God. But then when they're older, you kind of need to be more like almost like you're dating somebody. And then the other thing I was going to say is I was always very flirtatious, like not in a sexual way, but just be like, what are you guys doing? I don't know. I just really lighthearted and connected, and like a real, like, be dumb a little bit and be silly and just be like, I don't get it. What's vaping? So that I could get conversations about things that I thought were really important. Yeah. I don't know if those are helpful.
Anybody else? I know there's got to be some more questions in here. Yeah, Jess.
So I'm on the opposite end of that, and I have a little at home. What are some of your suggestions for getting like a reset and relaxation time when you're with them like 24/7 with a little baby?
Yeah. I think the breathing that we did today is really helpful. I teach a concept called pause break, and it's this idea that you separate, right? And you go and you do something with your body. So it's like reset your body to reset your mind. And so breathing can be great, but sometimes it's hard to access because we're really overwhelmed. So like that chop thing that she was doing is so great, and just like moving your body. But the thing with little ones is you can't necessarily be like, I'm going to go to the bathroom for 7 minutes by myself. Is it's not safe, and they won't let you. So learning how to self-regulate in the midst of them is the goal. And it's not, like, you can't be perfect. Don't expect yourself to be perfect. But when you start to notice that, like, frustration coming in, that's an invitation to you that you haven't connected to your body for a while. You're not really present. You're in your head or whatever, and just doing something that can be just going to make a glass of water, going to the bathroom. Sometimes you maybe haven't peed in 3 hours. You don't even realize it. To sit down on the ground and say, I'm going to look at this book, you look at that book, or you can sit on my lap, but as long as you're quiet, like, you can start to set limits. So that's the tricky part, is self-regulating while you are dysregulated in front of someone else. And it's a super skill, but you can get it. Yeah.
Thank you.
And Jess, too. So this is really a driving force behind why we created Soleil Wellness. As women, as moms, we give so much to our families, to the world, to others. And a lot of times we forget that we have to fill our own cup, right? So that was why Soleil Wellness was created. Truly a one-stop shop, everything that you could need under one roof. Movement, self-care, wellness amenities. I know it's hard, been there, but definitely take the time. It's needed, and you'll feel better. Your partner will feel better. Your child will feel better, because you are able to regulate yourself and be able to be better for the people that you love.
Thank you. I'll have to come visit.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. I've been thinking of the concept of pre-regulate, like we need to we're dysregulating, we need to regulate ourselves. But the more you do, almost to prime the pump of getting to that place of calm when you can, like if you have a little break or whatever, and it's like pre-regulation. So that way you are resetting in advance in some ways, so that you can be more present. That's kind of the concept of before you pick up. Like, can I preset my nervous system right now so that I'm kind of ready for whatever's gonna come? Yeah, I love that.
Question: At what age do your kids stop bothering you when you go to the bathroom? Yeah, I know. Like, why is that a thing that you
I
can
think
no
it's
longer do?
college.
Yeah, right. When they literally don't live in the house anymore, it's like a very strange concept. There's a door that's closing it up, but yet that does not mean anything to anybody. I don't understand.
It's funny because it shows you what your children want from you, right? That they are looking for you and your presence and your connection. And when there is a boundary or a barrier between you and them, it does create a little anxiety. And they are kind of ready to, they're needy. They become needy. And so kind of doing the same thing, I call this concept preview, but if I'm going to go to the bathroom, you're going to feel a little nervous. You're going to want to come in, but you can do it. And come out. When I come out, I'm gonna give you a big hug. So you kind of teach them how to separate in a way that's respectful. You're respecting their need for connection and your need for taking care of yourself. So a lot of it is just having conversations with your kids and talking, hey, this is what's going on, and that's hard for you, and you can handle it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. You're gonna miss me when I'm in the bathroom. Yeah.
Andrea. Great. Any other questions? Yep.
Okay, so you talked about not parenting in the morning, right? And then at pickup, you should give them their space.
Yeah.
And then you have after school activities. When is the best time to parent? And how to make them receptive of whatever conversation you need to have with them.
Yeah.
So great. That's good. Do you want to answer it?
No, I'm this is
It's such a good question. And really, it is once you get home, and you've kind of had snack, that's a great time to talk about something. This morning didn't go so well. I've noticed that I have the list of 5 things, and today those 3 things didn't get done. It was a little bit stressful. I teach a consequence model. I won't get into it, but how to make restitution for times when your kids create problems. They need to do something active to repair the cost of what has happened. So it's very restorative. It's really beautiful. It's like a little chore here or there, or hey, because of that, we're not going to be able to have time for this thing. But that kind of those windows right outside the transition are the times that are helpful to think about it. So, you have the transition to the sport, right? That's not a time to maybe talk about this has been a disaster. You never did. It's then maybe you say hello, you're in the car, you get home, and you're going to, before we go in, I want to take a minute to talk about what happened before soccer today. So kind of just anchoring it in a time that's just outside the transition is probably my best advice.
I think it's hard because I feel like when they're in transition, okay, when they're done transitioning, then you are transitioning because you need to know what's the next thing. Okay,
Yeah.
We just got home after sports, and then I need to transition to dinner, whatever, homework.
Yeah.
So, okay,
Yeah.
but I'll keep that in mind.
Yeah,
Thank you.
and it can be, right before you are going to eat, you bring your kids in. I love that you guys have family dinner, and it's really great. And a great way to help your kids connect to dinner is by having them set the table or bring the food to the table or plattering the food and bringing it to the table. And that can be a time that then they're in that space and you can say, we need to talk about some things. Bedtime is great for them to talk about things. It's not great for us. Yeah, because we're usually too tired. But they actually can they're a little bit receptive. So if you have a little space to talk about something, then that's a good time. But we're usually just want to get it done. Yeah.
So we were just talking about how to get our kids to do it. But when we're transitioning ourselves, how do we get ourselves? So like my kid had a freak out this morning and I freaked out at her. But I want to talk about it right away because I'm type A and I'm going to keep spinning until I get over it myself. So how do you, as trying to be a calm mom, want to get over it ourselves so we can be calm for them?
Yeah.
That's what I kind of want to know.
I mean, I think the concept that of feelings drive behavior helps me get to compassion. So the work that you are wanting to do is like have everybody understand why we all acted that way. You know, like, hey, you were upset and you said this, and then you kind of want to like debrief it and make sense of it. Is that kind of what you're talking about?
Kind of. Like, more like I freaked out on her and I feel bad.
Oh,
And she cries a lot. And you want to say sorry. Or you want to talk about the situation. But we're not supposed to talk about it in the morning. We have to get to school. So how do you calm yourself down?
yeah.
I'm going to keep talking about it all day in my own head.
Right.
Until I figure it out.
So you're talking about repair. Yeah. You get to repair whenever you want. Yeah. That's like, it's funny because I don't yell at my kids very often, but I did recently because we were getting ready to go onto the airport, right? That's like one of the worst times as a family to get everybody in the car at the right time. And then my husband was being really cute. He's like, does everyone have their ID cards? Does everyone have their chargers? Does everyone have their bathing suit? And then my 19-year-old was like, I don't have my bathing suit. We're going on a lake trip. And I was
It
like,
literally freaks me to hear that right now. I'm like, ah.
and I was like, what? What? I just kind of lost it. And then my husband turns to me and he's like, you know, you need to say sorry. No, he goes, call mama, which enough. And then he says, you know, you need to say sorry. Otherwise, this whole time is going to be terrible. Thanks for the feedback. And then I said, I was like, hey, I'm sorry. And then I immediately was like, but. And I was like, that's not a repair. If I'm going to say sorry, but you were wrong. That's not, I'm not regulated yet. So then I go to compassion for myself. Like, what was I so anxious about? Why did that behavior bother me? What did I make it mean? I do like some life coaching on my brain. Yeah, to get myself into self-forgiveness so that I understand why I acted that way. And then when I come to my child to make repair, which probably for you would have to be later because it's hard to do it if you're still upset. Yeah. And that's fine. You could, that icky feeling when you say bye and it was like shitty. It's okay to say, you know, hey, that was rough. I'm sorry. We'll talk about it later. You can kind of just make a little comment about it. And then repair is really about
where you were coming from and how that affected them.
So, you know, going back and honestly being like, I was in my own anxiety or worry or frustration about it and I took it out on you. I'm sorry. Yeah.
And then we deal with the mom guilt, right?
Yeah.
The whole day. Yes, been there.
Well, that's
right?
what compassion is for, because you feel guilty when you don't understand why you behave the way and you haven't forgiven yourself. So if you take a minute to connect back and give yourself lots of love, like, of course you yelled. Of course I was upset. My kid is not going to have a bathing suit. I'm the mom. If he doesn't have a bathing suit, what are we going to do? Stop at Walmart? Like, spin out. And then also I made it mean that he wasn't respectful. He didn't care about this vacation. He's an ungrateful brat. I had all sorts of thoughts in my head. And that's why I acted that way. And I get to be really gentle with myself and forgive myself. So the guilt is present when you haven't forgiven yourself. Yeah.
That's good.
I think we have time for one or two more questions. Yeah.
Hey, Emily, I was wondering when you and your co-founder decided to start Soleil, like about how long was like the dreaming and building process before you opened your physical location?
Oh, thank you for that question. So Soleil is born from three of us. There's three co-founders, and we merged our passions for each of kind of like the branches of Soleil. The movement side, wellness, my co-founder Amber, and the spa, my co-founder Tara. So we really merged our visions together to create Soleil. the dream, so this all came about in August of 2023 is when we took over the building. The building is a former Total Woman in the Target Shopping Center here in Westlake. And it unfortunately was a COVID casualty. So it was vacant since July of 2020. So I remember the day where we met at Soleil. And, you know, although each of us had our fields, we were never business owners, right? We had never done this. And it was a collective, like, oh my gosh, we are really going to do this. Like, are you in? Are you in? Okay, I guess I'm in, right? But knowing that we had the support of each other was so important, and allowing us to be vulnerable with each other, also very important. And the support, too, that we had to give one another is key. But we really kept that vulnerability close to our heart when we would go and, you know, the gym side is very masculine dominated. And here I would go to, you know, like these fitness conventions trying to buy gym equipment. And it was like, oh, it's my first gym, you know, easily written off. But like, because I had the support of my co-founders and the dream of Soleil, we were able to do it. And that was our driving force too. It was a huge undertaking. Soleil is close to 14,000 square feet. Yeah, so it was quite the big undertaking.
And only a year to open?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I know.
Yeah, so 2023 to like, and you opened about a year
And then we
later.
opened in November of 24. So we're just on almost our 1 year anniversary.
Congratulations. But yeah, so your dream, because your question was, how long was that process? And it sounds like it was a year.
It was about a year,
Wow.
yes. And although it was a huge undertaking, we feel like it just was meant to be. Soleil actually comes from the word celestial, so from the stars. So we truly think that Soleil, like, it's a movement. We had to bring it to this community.
So cool. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's incredible. That's, I mean, out of all the different business owners I've talked to like create a physical space that you've done, it's a beautiful space. I can't wait for you guys to check it out. But like you renovated it, you added on. So to be able to do that all within a year is pretty incredible. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other business questions before we wrap up? Alejandra, yes.
So you mentioned none of your partners had a business. Did any of you have education in business, or how did you prepare to create this beautiful concept?
Yeah, great question. So no, we were not, I went to school for education, right? That was my realm. None of us had business degrees, but it kind of goes, again, back to what I was saying about using your resources. We were able to network and rely on the people who we identified as visionaries, you could say, and like, tried to be like them, learned from them, asked all the questions, and really, like, you have to set your ego aside and say, I don't know what I'm doing. My dad always says you have to be smart enough to know what you don't know. I would use that all the time. So,
And I do think like part of hopefully with Conejo Valley Visionaries, with like meetups like this, it's you can meet other people who've done it. And like Finn on last week's episode said this, and I think it's so true. DM people, send them messages, like follow up. Make sure you like try to follow everybody that's here. Ask questions, because a lot of you are business owners. A lot of people are considering it, like, or just parents in general with questions. I feel like the community is small enough in which everybody is so generous with their thoughts and like of how they've done it. And obviously AI can play a big role in that, but I do think that like just having those one-on-one connections, especially because this community is so specific if you're opening a business, I feel like it's helpful to learn from others here is just sort of what I've taken. And I think we're all trying to build this community that we want to live in for whatever that looks like. And, being able to share that with others, I think is helpful. Any last question? I know we're wrapping up here before you guys get to the rest of your day. Yes, Mona.
Hello. I'm curious, how did you both manage your morning routine during the building phase of your businesses?
I really focused on building my business when my kids were at school. And so my routine was like them, then I worked out, then I came home and I worked from 10 to 2:30. And that was like what the hours I had were the hours I had available. And I had to do a lot of evening things because of the nature of my work, and especially early on. And so I would get babysitters and, leave and do my job. So the morning, I didn't really have to like get up and go somewhere. I would just come back and build my business. So that was like, I just really dedicated time within the hours that they were at school. Yeah.
Yeah, very similar. Keeping my morning routine, my structure was my sanity, especially in the early stages. I also went back to a lot your why. Why are you doing this? To help me with those early mornings, but for me, really, it was the late evenings where I found I could, have the kids asleep and be able to focus on what I needed to focus on. So that was hard for the next morning, but making sure, our morning routine was in place was helpful as well. But yeah, so morning routine is so important. But personally, for me, I found the evening time to be where I could really hone in on what I needed to do, what I needed to accomplish that day.
Thank you. And that's so funny because I'm such a morning person that I have to do it before the kids. Like if I'm going to do anything about this, it has to be like before they're up. Because at night it's 8:05 and you're not asleep. I'm angry and I'm mad and I've got I'll go to bed an hour later. I'm just like so brain dead by the end of the day. So it's more of a morning routine thing for me too. But it's like figuring out when you work best, right? And I think that with the pandemic, it's allowed us to a little bit more acknowledge when we work better. And I think that that's the nice thing, especially if you own your own business. It's like you figure out what works for you, which is nice. Well, everybody, this was amazing. Thank you so much for attending our second event. We really appreciate that you're here. You took the time to take care of yourself, which is a huge step to begin with. And thank you for that. As always, we'd love for you to follow and check out the panelists, Neighborly, Conejo Valley Visionaries. Let's all continue to connect, give feedback on the event, who you want to hear from next would be super valuable. So thank you all. Please don't forget to take your goodie bags. You're going to get little salads to go. And thank you so much. Have a good day. Thank you. Thank you for listening to Conejo Valley Visionaries. If you like today's episode, make sure to subscribe on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen. And don't forget to rate and review us. That's the best way to support the podcast. To enter our giveaways, learn about local events, and to find out more about each guest, follow at Conejo Valley Visionaries on Instagram. If you want to share your visionary story on the podcast, send us an email. We are always open to guest nominations. Email conejovalleyvisionaries@gmail.com. This episode was produced by Christina Denstead and Justin K. Sloan. Conejo Valley Visionaries is edited by Justin K. Sloan and J. Sloan Productions.